Manor Lords is one of the most anticipated games on Steam, currently sitting at number 3 in terms of wishlists on the platform, and we've been waiting years for an official release date. This combination of medieval city building and real-time battles, where complex logistics of managing a thriving town meets a military system that is quite literally comprised of the people that live there, it resonates so well across several genres, and just looks so dang good while doing it, that the community has been chomping at the bits and pleading game win since the first trailer. Let the Xbox partner preview, the last thing the community expected was Manor Lords, and certainly didn't expect to not only get a brand new trailer, but one with a release date and an additional release platform. Yes, you heard that implication correctly. Manor Lords now has an official release date of April 26, 2024, and will release day one on PC Game Pass, with an eventual release on the Xbox console at some point in the future. Before we continue, I personally must disclose that I do work for Hooded Horse, Manor Lords publisher, as its Director of Creator Relations, so this particular announcement is not a new one for me, and it's been an incredibly exciting time to see this all form together. Just needed to be fully transparent in the wake of such a large announcement. But back to Manor Lords proper, and the goodies within: new mechanics, great graphics, and an intriguing narrative. Alongside the excitement of just having a confirmed release date, this trailer showed off a good deal of development progress across both city building and army management. On the city building side, we have an updated system for laying out houses, wherein we can draw our 4 corners as always, but increase or decrease the number of houses within that space exactly as we desire to do. This alone is a fantastic addition, since it caused a bit of frustration during the demo and it wasn't very optimized to utilize the best space. We also have new overlays for things like market supply, which helps you grasp just which houses have what resources and whether your economic side is functioning properly. One of the more exciting pieces we've seen teased about, but now we have a solid look at, is the idea of development points and policies, which will affect how we govern our regions and will allow the ability to start specializing in certain industries, depending on the resources within. In this snapshot, for instance, we can forfeit a percentage of our goods to the church in exchange for influence, which is an abstract resource that we can use to lay claim to new regions or use it to draft letters to fellow lords, if it still works like that. It's great to see that this part of the game is coming along so well, as a productive city is crucial, especially since you'll have to build and maintain your army. And speaking of your army, we have some of the best footage here of the military mechanics that were only brief insider looks during early development. Things like rallying your militia to fight off bandits, customizing your troops with armor and weapons, and even some proper battles utilizing different stances. What really stands out though is that this isn't some Total War style army setup where all units look the exact same and only act as one ginormous block of soldiers that cannot operate independently and have no value when lost. No, these soldiers are equipped with only the armor available in the region, using whatever is at hand, and should they die, you have to remember that's a citizen that you lost from your own city, not some arbitrary person that only costs gold and a turn to build. Now, it also has to be mentioned, I think this is the most polished and graphically fantastic trailer we've seen to date. Previous trailers have looked great, but both the close-ups and zoomed out shots look crisp and smooth, and I enjoy those slow pans and time lapses of the village coming to life just as much as I love watching 2 armies smash together and try and kill each other. I do think that the individual movement looks a bit awkward at times, almost like that soldier is rubber banded to the unit you created, but this is one of those details that could either get hammered out before release or is one small minor detail I'd have to live with in the perspective of everything else that's great. We also get an idea on the narrative aspects to this game. I believe it's been teased before, honestly can't recall, but it appears that there are 2 primary focuses at play. There's a long-standing issue of bandits plaguing the lands that you'll have to go up against, and a more notable rogue baron that, well, wants to kill you, to put it nicely. It'll be interesting to see if more comes of this narrative and how that plays into the game overall. It's not something I mind at all as long as it still feels like a sandbox game with periods of events, almost like what happens in RimWorld, for instance, rather than having my hands tied to so many scripted events that I can't truly build how I want to, peaceful or otherwise. Either way, it makes for a great backdrop to Manor Lords, and it really drives home that sense of making a name for yourself in a region full of chaos and hostility. In the midst of this announcement and all the new goodies that come along with the trailer, I do think it's important to answer one of the larger questions that needs addressing. Why the delay? It is a great question, and if you've been following news and updates on the Manor Lords Discord, you'll have seen that development was not necessarily in trouble, but the game wasn't ready for what was an unconfirmed but somewhat expected release date towards the end of 2023. HForHavoc has done wonders to work on Manor Lords since the massive public demo last year, and has slowly been adding new people to his team, from a dedicated GUI designer, I think a couple of other designers in other areas of development, along with an animation rigger. So although he no longer solo develops the game entirely, it is still largely on his plate to develop and implement what those other people are doing. Now combine that with a tweet that came out in early August that said he started working with a professional quality assurance company. These additions have allowed him to see that there were gaps in the game that needed fleshed out to make for the best first experience on early access. And that's exactly what I think this 6-month delay will aim to accomplish. It will allow HForHavoc to hone his focus on more specific areas of the game, be it tutorials, game balancing, fine-tuning already established mechanics, and just making sure that when people boot up the game for the first time, whether you're a strategy game junkie or only play like first-person games, both people can easily understand what's going on and have a great time playing the game right from the get-go. And while this may be disappointing to a lot of you, I understand, I feel it's important to remind you that Hooded Horse as a publisher is at its core extremely pro-developer and pro-delay. This means that if the publisher or the developer feels that a delay is necessary, they will make sure that that happens. This is especially important considering the landscape of controversy in the last few years of developers and publishers releasing games in a state that was simply not ready and chock full of bugs and game-breaking issues. I get that a delay is frustrating because you don't get that instant gratification of playing a game you've been waiting years for. But deep down inside, I think everyone understands that a delay can only mean the game gets better. And let's face it, it'll be pretty dang sweet when Manor Lords releases in a better state while utilizing a significantly smaller team than some of these AAA studios can with teams of hundreds. So, to recap, Manor Lords is coming April 26th of 2024, not just to PC on Steam, but to PC Game Pass Day 1 and eventually to consoles at some point in the future. It's an incredibly exciting time for the game, and if you've yet to wishlist it on Steam, I highly recommend doing so right now, and also be sure to join the Manor Lords Discord to stay up to date with any future information that might pique your interest. And if you enjoyed this video, it would be great to get your support as well for the channel by giving it a like, subscribing, and leaving your comments on this awesome announcement down below. Thank you guys so much for watching. Thank you for listening. This is Havoc, and I'm out of here.